This is me playing Half-Life Alyx on my PC all the way from the living room. This is me racing in VR. And this is me playing Helldivers 2 in VR on a massive screen while I watch YouTube on the side. You might have tried VR once in your life and thought, well, that was kind of neat, but I feel silly since the graphics kind of sucked, felt kind of gimmicky, or just isn't polished yet. Well, the future of VR has been moving full steam ahead, and I'm afraid you've been missing out. The future of VR has been here since the release of the Quest 3, but don't worry, let me tell you everything you missed in VR so far. No, this isn't a video explaining that VR is the future of gaming forever, or that everyone will be interacting with screens strapped to their faces. Trust me, with little kids in the house, that's far from the reality. No, instead, I just want to explain VR as another option, another medium you can experience for gaming, TV, movies, internet browsing, and whatever this is.
But before we get to that, one of my favorite features of the Quest 3 is the ability to use this app called Virtual Desktop, where I can stream my PC desktop to anywhere I want as long as there's a router it's connected to within direct line of sight. This lets me stream AAA PC games to my headset, PCVR title games, all wirelessly without any fancy anything. You can even customize the environment that you're in this new app to a theater, to a desk setup room, or even outer space. But streaming this type of content from your PC does require quite a beefy device because you are rendering 4K displays in each eye. And perhaps today's sponsor can help out with that little problem.
Are you looking for a new PC, working with a budget, or looking for a high-end gaming system? Or maybe you're interested in the amazing world of PCVR. PC Bros might be able to help make that dream come true. PC Bros is a pre-built PC company founded by Matt and Jackson of Toasty Bros. They created this company for gamers and tech enthusiasts alike. They have everything from upgraded office PCs for those on a tight budget, to high-end custom builds featuring the latest and greatest 4000 series graphics cards and Ryzen 7000 series chips. They offer a 1-year warranty on all their parts and labor and up to 30 days return policy, which is a fantastic policy for a pre-built PC company.
Which honestly is a fantastic deal for a pre-built PC company. I can barely get Dell to actually own up to any of their mistakes that I get. And I was just doing a quick price comparison to their PCs to see how much their markup is using PC Builder, and honestly it's super minimal. Sometimes close to $100 on most of these devices, which when you're considering in your 1-year warranty, tech support, and running a business in this economy, that's honestly a pretty good deal.
If you want to check out PC Bros, I'll leave a link in the description down below.
Thank you, PC Bros, for sponsoring this video. Since the release of the Quest 3 in October of last year, people were pretty skeptical of the device. It's overpriced. A lot of people get motion sickness in VR games. The games are kind of kiddie, low quality. Well, there's an argument to some of that, but not when you look at the games like this. Skyrim, Asgard's Wrath, Half-Life Alyx. However, there's so much more you don't know quite yet, and we'll get through them throughout this video. The state of VR isn't fantastic, but it's getting better with every new release and the AAA experiences being set up to release this fall. And with the PSVR 2 going on sale, I have a feeling things should be improving here shortly. When people say VR is overpriced, they are correct in a lot of areas. When the Valve Index was released back in 2019, it was listed as $1,000, which is absolutely insane. But at the time, it was the most commercially available and top-of-the-line headset you could grab. Granted, VR was very limited in scope as far as content, and you weren't actually getting that much stuff out of it in the end for that cost. The Valve Index had dual 1440p by 1600 LCD screens with up to 144 Hz refresh rate and a set of headphones all included. That's quite a lot for 1,000 buckaroos considering what you're getting with the $3,500 Apple Vision Pro in 2024. But then the Quest 2 released, and it's one of the most successful VR headsets and platforms of VR to date. Yes, it had pass-through, but it was only black and white. Only had 1832 by 1920 resolution per eye, limited graphical performance, kind of like a mobile phone, and up to 90 Hz screen, and caused a few inconveniences due to the compromises they made to appeal to everyone. Screen door effect, meaning you can see the lines and the pixels as you're looking at the screen. Motion sickness in games that run at a lower refresh rate. And just the limited compute power and therefore worse looking games to play. It was only listed for $299 starting and went on to sell over 20 million units as of 2023. And those numbers have not been updated, but they essentially sold all the stock they had. This gave developers a huge incentive to create the best games possible, and they're still coming out with even more experiences in 2024 and beyond. But this all changed with the Quest 3. The Quest 3, in my opinion, is the next generation VR headset, the one that finally sets the bar for people and gives them a full immersive experience that you would have not known about otherwise. With a higher resolution of 2064 by 2208 pixels per eye, you no longer get a screen door effect. Games are now able to push better resolution natively and refresh rate, therefore reducing nausea. Also, with the improved Wi-Fi 6E adapter, you can stream content over to your Quest from your PC. Granted, you need to make sure your Wi-Fi router is in the area, but you can accomplish this pretty easily. I'm using this $50 used router I got on Amazon to stream to my VR headset in the living room, so I can get as much space as possible while playing. But with a bigger price tag of $500, the same cost of a brand new console, it better have a lot of things to play, right? Right? Don't worry, there's lots. So you paid $500 for Quest 3. Well, I hate to say it, but you're gonna need to spend just a little more. The 128GB version is the one I got, and it's actually not quite filled up yet, so you shouldn't need to worry about extra long storage unless you plan on putting a bunch of movies on there in different media. So if that's not where you're going to spend your money, then where? Ah yes, accessories. Did I tell you about those? While the entry price of the Quest 3 is $500, you'll quickly realize that the head strap is uncomfortable, and the hand straps are really inconvenient, and the battery dies really quickly. We'll step in Kiwi or Bobo for the head strap that you can get. This will increase the comfortability as well as the battery pack included on the back, which actually balances it out pretty well. Also, these knuckle grip style controllers allow you to hold and pick up things in VR to give you that extra bit of immersion. Oh, and make sure the ones that you get have this little hole in the side, otherwise you're gonna have a hard time tracking these. There's also golf grips, gun grips, charging accessories, but the only two that I say are required are the ones I mentioned earlier, because it really adds a layer of immersion that you'd miss out on otherwise. I'll drop links in the description down below to some that I recommend. The Quest 3 has gone on sale several times, and I also know there are several ways you can get it used for a decent price, as well if you're looking to save a few bucks. You can also buy replacement facial interfaces, the thing that goes to your face if you're kind of worried about other people's germs, which a lot of people are, especially the sweaty ones. So the cost to entry is kind of high, I can see that. But you're also spending a lot on your accessories for your PS5 and Xbox, so the cost really does even out in the end, and that does seem to be the biggest part of people getting into VR though. So the second biggest blocker is motion sickness. I know plenty of people who put on a VR headset, played a game for 20 minutes, and just want to vomit afterwards. And I totally get that. I'm the most motion sickness person ever. I would rather drive the entire 20 hours of road trip than sit in the back seat. I can't handle that. But I've actually cured most of my motion sickness since using VR. Some things to keep in mind. Some games are built better for VR. BoneLab is a prime example. This game is great for physics and gameplay, but it's not built for the motion sickness sensitive. And actually, this is the first VR game I tried, and I played all the way through. There were several moments where I was on the floor, drenched in sweat, wanting to hurl, stumbling around the house afterwards. So the last game I'm gonna recommend to a newcomer is that. Asgard's Wrath 2, on the other hand, handles motion sickness really well. It runs at 120 Hertz. They add speed lines anytime you're going faster than a slow walk. And there's also tons of accessibility options, and it's almost like this tunnel effect they add using the speed lines to help block out the peripheral vision, which is what causes most of your motion sickness without making it look awful and still makes it immersive. Racing games and flying games are the absolute worst. They will make you sicker and faster than any normal VR game. I don't know the exact science behind it, but basically your body is standing still and your brain is moving at 60 miles per hour, which completely puts your equilibrium out of whack and puts your stomach in knots. It takes time to build up your tolerance too. I recommend playing until you just barely start feeling sick. Pull off the headset, wait a day, try again, and gradually build yourself back up. You are training your brain to experience an entire new world and a new way of movement. It's not easy, but your brain will learn and you'll eventually never have motion sickness again in VR. And it's actually kind of a nice cure-all to most motion sickness scenarios that you're gonna be in. And when that happens, you'll be free to explore any game you want without fear of getting sick. I need to state one last expectation. While the field of view is big, there's a sense of goggles you'll see on your eyes. So it's almost like you're peering into a virtual world, but that feeling goes away after about 5 to 10 minutes and your eyes naturally cancel it out. So you kind of get used to that immersion feeling. Okay, the main differences between the Quest 3 and something like the PSVR 2 or Valve Index is that you're getting a complete package with tons of different tools and utilities built in. An open source platform that lets you load most apps as well as sideload unsupported ones without any fear of warranty or retribution, a browser, Discord, Netflix, YouTube, and even apps you can develop yourself. You can use one hand tracking so your controller stay at your desk, and you can walk around, do dishes, and do laundry. Now this might seem a little dystopian, but I'm not doing this with my family around. I spend my time with my family without technology. This is for late at night when it's peaceful and everyone is asleep or doing their own thing, and I can enjoy a drink and a 100-inch TV on my wall. There's no end to what you can do, and typically I'm finding new use cases every week as they add more updates and features. There's one more huge feature I'd like to mention, and that is the marketplace of the Quest. A lot of people are just sick and tired of all the AAA games that look like soulless cash grabs or copy and paste of their previously successful titles. And that's obvious. It's getting old, and a lot of folks have been saying we need to get back to supporting smaller studios and helping them grow. That's the entire world of VR development. All smaller studios are getting their start in VR and even growing from it and getting huge from it. Developers like Skydance Interactive, who developed critically acclaimed VR game The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, and soon releasing Behemoth, which also just looks incredible and I'm excited for. There's also games made by one or small groups of teams like Vertigo 1 and 2, Sword and Sorcery, that have huge support and mods from the VR community. And this part isn't a plug, but all Quest users have the ability to refer headsets and software purchase from the store. If you use my link to buy a VR headset, for example, we both get $30 of in-store credit to use to purchase things from the Meta Horizon store. And any game referral link you give gives the person 25% off and the person who referred it $5 in credit. This entire referral process can be used by anyone. You don't need to create content, sign up for something special. Anyone has these links in their app and can share them out to whoever they want. So I typically give them back and forth between me and my friends every time we want to get a game. You can almost entirely fund your games on the Meta Horizon store doing this, and also these games aren't $70. Most of these games cost at most $40, with sales running constantly throughout the year and the lowest cost being around $10 per game. So this all probably sounds like a huge pain and task, but all things are worth it, I promise. What you're getting is a completely renewed love for video games, a childhood fantasy fulfilled basically, and the feeling of having an arcade in your living room. When I first turned it on, I instantly felt like a kid again playing Halo 2 for the first time. The whole world opened up and I was having fun again gaming, moving my body, fulfilling a childhood dream, being inside a video game, which almost all kids can relate to. Also playing with friends you haven't seen in ages in person. In VR, when you live thousands of miles apart, probably my most favorite feature. And every single gameplay video you see and think, that looks stupid and janky, is not actually representative of the experience. The real thing is tracked on your head and eyeballs, and the recordings are usually only coming from one eye as well. It's a horrible representation of the actual gameplay. And I would say the best way to display that in the future is to get a virtual camera in the game and overlay the body over it. That's the only way I could describe how it feels. And sometimes it gets too real, and I feel like a murderer. But I guess you get used to that too. Well, I hope you liked the video. If you're considering buying a Quest 3, you can use my link down below, or friends if they already have one, to give them the $30 in-store credit. My favorite games will be linked down below as well. Things like Dungeons of Eternity, Asgard's Wrath 2, those are fantastic experiences, and Half-Life Alyx, as well as Swords and Sorcery on Steam. But this is a huge passion of mine, and I hope to make more breakdown videos of different tech in the future. If you want to support the channel, do so by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Thanks for watching.